Y'all remember when Shopify became like all popular, like mainstream, right? And everybody started creating their little websites. They started having their little drop shipping store. All you got to do is scroll down to the footer, and then you read "Powered by Shopify." But if I go to Shopify, you paid a little $30, $40 plan to get a template. Shut your lying ass. Yo, up, guys, welcome back, man. So that was just an example, right? If y'all remember back in the past, I helped everybody who's boasting about their own store, and you just had a template. Like everybody else could do that. You're not special. That's just like AI. How everybody's on ChatGPT. You doing the same thing. We are doing the same thing. We all know. But how do we get to the actual results? In today's video, I'm going to be going over literally what coding looks like today. I'm going to show you guys kind of, or really give you pointers on what to do, how to understand literally the foundation, the fundamentals of coding, because you can actually get way better results than you are. And instead of just creating different prompts, you're now creating agents. So you're like a master puppet controlling your business with different 24/7 employees online, right? And then second of all, I'm going to go over kind of what you should be learning, kind of different ways of thinking about it, more of an infrastructure instead of a research tool. Because using AI, how everybody use now is like using Google. It's like a faster Google. The last thing I'm going to do is give you guys also tips and tricks on how I landed all of my partners. I have about 4 to 5 active businesses that I'm working on. I help build their infrastructure, I help scale their business, and most importantly, I help them save money so they don't have to hire more people, which would be a more expense, or they don't have to continue dedicating time to things that they can automate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get into it, baby. You want to learn the basics of Java and Python. You don't have to go too crazy where you're creating your entire everything, but at least learn the fundamentals and foundations so you're understanding what you're doing. Understanding everything is just going to be the basic of codings, right? So for example, understanding the variables, understanding if it's going to be a if and then statement, a loop, API, you're going to have different objects oriented programming, different sequels, different functions to understand what you're looking at, what you're messing with, if you're messing with different SRC pages or migrations or whatever the case is. So when you're talking to your AI, you're getting the results you want. Let's just say you run into an error and you look at the error, you don't exactly know what's going on, but you fix it. You may run into an error loop to where you're constantly having to fix an error and it's still bringing up errors. Well, if you can look at the specific problem, you can actually go into those files and do a more specified prompt so you can actually adjust what needs to be edited. So for example, it may be literally an error with overlapping and duplications, but every time you fix it, it keeps creating a new one and overlapping and duplicating. You fix it, create a new one, overlapping and duplicating. And it's not like it doesn't work, but it's literally just duplicating itself. So being able to go in, understand that process, you could create a prompt to actually delegate to that specific page, specific function, or whatever migration you have that's going on in the back end. Another question you want to keep in your mind is how projects are being structured, right? So what type of tech stack are you designing? Is your end goal going to be landing on the web application? Or are you going to be staying doing web designs and web apps, which is better for either Python or JavaScript. But remember, depending on your end goal, that's kind of what you want to start with. You can always mess around and do both, but it just helps you for your end goal. You're going to want to understand what kind of APIs you're using. You want to understand if you're going to be, say, for example, you're creating an esports application, you're going to probably be doing APIs that revolve around Twitch. You're going to have APIs that revolve maybe around Discord. Instead of people signing in and just creating their emails, you may want them to sign in through Discord, right? So you're going to have a different API for that. Let's say you're trying to create a web application to where you just want to create a subscription where people are buying healthy food choices. You may want to get APIs that connect different data. So every time they scan that barcode for some milk or whatever processed foods out there, they can actually get detailed actual data from their information all the way to yours, and it can just coerce just literally easily. These are just different things where you understand routing, you understand APIs, you understand webhooks, you understand connections, you understand if you're going live, sandbox. All these things matter, especially when you start charging people. Yeah, you don't want to mess up those bad boys, especially that data. Of course, go over really like the data flow, how the back end, how the front end is going to work. If you're going to be using different tables for different categories of things, so you're going to have tables for when people are creating their accounts and authorized for that. And then if they're going to have a subscription, that's going to be a different table. If you're going to have loyalty points, right? So if they're going to be having a point system and an in-store credit system that's going to also be within that RLS. So understanding your securities, understanding your tables, so everything can be structured when you're creating prompts. All of these things are very important instead of just asking, hey, can you do this or create this for me? Right? So once you get kind of like the foundation down from those two, I think, yeah, it's really just getting started. Once you understand the foundation, it's just really getting started, starting practicing, starting getting projects done. Put, $500 to the side so you can actually start just practicing in credits, understanding how different things works. You may want to just start doing different projects for people just for fun, just so you can see how the sign up process works, how sharing process works, maybe doing a subscription, and different things like that. So before you get started, you want to make sure you have your GitHub ready. That's like number one. That's how you're going to have your repos. That's how you're going to share between different AI programs with each other. So say if you're using, let's just say three different AI programs. You may have a front end like UX Builder that's building the front end because you love UX Builder. And then you may be using Cursor AI because it's $20 a month for the back end and helps with data. And then you may be connecting all of that with Supabase, right? Which is also able to connect with your repository. All of these things working together would create an entire system to where you can create a front end flow to where users are able to see a sign up page, all the way to creating their authentication flow to creating their own profiles and saving inside of your Supabase. So having that entire flow, making sure all of those backends is ready for your repository. So when you're sharing, working on it locally, or even just working on it in public, you can be able to have all of those ready for when you're testing in sandboxes. Now, you got all these things going. You got your app, you got your front end, you got people signing in. Do you want to start adding dependencies? You want to start adding different workflows, different things that you want to add, different webhooks, different secrets and API keys so you can start creating actually awesome apps. So for example, let's just say you want to start implementing push notifications. You're going to have to create a whole different certificate. You have Apple push notifications and you have Android. When you're dealing with Apple push notifications, you're going to have to get the certificates, get the keys. You're going to have to make sure you get the files ready to import different ways. There's a whole different process instead of just asking, hey, can you add push notifications to my systems? All of this is have to be wrapped around an entire different shell and a whole different process so you can actually get it working properly. This is actually supercharging your entire application so it can look way different than most applications, right? Some people now have web apps to where they don't have exactly push notifications, where if I press this button and I wanted to send a notification to your phone and my phone was off right now, and it's just popped up having a menu and you can press it and go to wherever you designed it to go to, that's next level marketing. That'll take your business to next level, right? So understanding the dependencies, the different libraries and files that all of these go to, how they coincide with each other will all help you literally generate the best prompts to create AI agents, baby. Remember, AI agents are just different 24/7 employees that are working for you doing tasks that can work for data, work for analytics. You can enhance it. It's literally your own brain working 24/7. And it's not only just providing resources, it's actually doing a task for you. So now, that's basically the first topic. That's kind of like what coding looks like today. If you understand the fundamentals and foundation, you can implement that with your AI prompting and you can actually create different structures instead of how to's to what to do. The second thing we're going to talk about is what you should be learning. Now, there's plenty of ways to go about it, but I personally would recommend you should be learning the infrastructure instead of learning different ways and prompts on how to simply help you create this resume, for example. Or let's go in deep. You have a business or you have a store and you sell bread, right? You sell fancy bread. You had different breads over there, and you wanted to go ahead and start doing a marketing technique where you wanted to start running events, right? You wanted to send out push notifications to run events. Instead of learning, okay, I want to add push notification to my business, and then next thing you know, it doesn't work properly. Well, let's build the infrastructure first. You're going to have admin dashboards and you're going to have a user dashboard. If you build the foundation first on how all of the migration and functions going to work, you may start off with a prompt like this. Hey, UX Builder, or hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to be implementing a new migration into our system that's going to involve push notification. I'm going to create a new page. I'm going to create a new admin dashboard. I'm going to create a new admin TSX. These are the different files and folders you're going to create, and then you're going to start allocating these different codes. AI is just helping you write the code. They're doing the heavy lifting, the boring part, the writing part. but you are still providing the folder, providing the functions, the routings, and where it's supposed to land. Once you get that infrastructure with the admin, then you create the user side, the front end, the back end, the routing, the coding and APIs, so you can get the data that's connecting the UI on the front end and the back end from the dashboard for the admin and the dashboard for the users, and then these will work simultaneously. Now you completed building the foundation, which is how admins are going to create push notifications, and then you built the end-to-end results to where how users are going to get those notifications on their phone, right? So learning the actual infrastructure of what you're building is going to enhance the results you get instead of just typing, hey, I would like to implement push notifications into my new business. These are completely two different prompts, two different ways of going about it, and the results are completely different. I would like to give you an example of my issues when I was first learning AI prompting. Just like everyone else, you download some, let's just say Cursor AI, or you download Claude AI. It doesn't matter. You download any of these programs, and you literally would type in, I want to build $1 million app that's going to take me to the next level that has never been thought of. So you're telling me if you wrote that to ChatGPT and let's just say a million other people in the world also wrote that same prompt, you telling me they're going to have a million different results? Bro, it's just like you guys are Googling it. It's the same thing. That's not creating a infrastructure. I started off trying to do stuff like that before I started taking classes, when ChatGPT was popular, before all these cool apps started coming out. And I thought I was doing something. Then you notice you start creating the same different designs that you see online, same infrastructure, the same mock data, the same errors that everybody is running to. People are not able to sign up successfully. People are not able to buy things successfully. I can't create a map. I want to create geographic locations. I want to create different policies and terms to where I can restrict, geo restrictions or whatever. I want to create different APIs to where if somebody is streaming, they can go live on my app. All these cool things that real apps have implemented because you actually have correct coding and you learn differently to where you thought it was so easy. So now you spend 100, $200 thinking you're just going to create this awesome app in web design just to find out that you're deep into just wasting money. Now you're looking at AI like everybody else, like, what I mean? AI is cool, it's great, but have you made money with it? Have you made results with it? Have it helped you, promote yourself in a job? Have it helped you create headaches to where your job isn't having too many expenses or scaling down to where it's not doing so many heavy lifting? What results has you have with it, right? So what you should really be learning is the infrastructure, the way you think about it, how you're creating prompts and how you're going about it to create the results that you want to carry a task compared to the results to just help you do the same tedious task. And the last tip is all of the advices and tricks I have to help me land my first jobs to literally be able to get comfortable and tell you guys everything that I'm doing now. One of my clients would be the gym. It's called the Lions Den, Power Conditioning Lion Den Gym. You guys can go look at their Instagram. You guys can look at the website. You guys can also install their app as well. It's a PWA right now. It's not on the App Store, and we're still in beta, but you guys can go in and join us through our website. Now, one thing that you notice is when you click in there, as soon as you click it, you have your sign up page and your admin page. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, just trying to create that own data. When someone signs in, you should have a completely different repository and dashboard that on the admin side, it won't have that data on who's signing in, who's using your app. So now you have rapport from beginning to end. Then you'll have different things. If you have signed up, you'll notice that they have a dashboard, they have subscriptions, we have ways to you can buy a shop, you can check your billing and profile, etc. If you buy a subscription, it would unlock all the other features. Right now, if you sign up, you'll have no subscription, so you'll see you have a couple hidden tabs. That's another thing that people don't know how to work on. They don't know how to allocate different rows and different logs to where if someone is signed in and they do not have a subscription, they're seeing something different to who's signed in and have a subscription. You may have someone who's signed in and then you have a loyalty system points, and every time they sign in and they use your app, they want to get 5 points. That's a whole different system and routing technique that's way different than just asking the AI prompt to build that for you. That's on the back end heavy. This is our different techniques that you guys can sign up right now. Check. So now say you create a subscription. Before you buy a subscription, you may want to set up an appointment. Inside the app, now we have different ways for them to set up an appointment and schedule it with one of the trainers so they can go ahead and get a example of what the gym feels like. They can walk around and get a tour. They can see all the different amenities that they have inside the gym. so they can feel comfortable instead of just going ahead and buying a membership and not understanding what they're doing. Now, imagine you comparing that to like 24-hour fitness or Planet Fitness. Everybody knows what that look like. These gyms are big. You go in there, you kind of feel intimidated. You know what to look at. You're trying to get help, or you want somebody to train you. You got to go online. You got to schedule an appointment. You got to wait, X amount of days. You go in there, and it's just not really the best feeling because you don't got that one-on-one customer service. And actually, it's not easy. You got to get on the call. You got to do this. You got to wait for customer service. You got to get transferred. All that BS. When you can do all of that within this app. You can sign up, have an appointment. You can literally have an appointment and pull up that day, and that's how easy it is, right? So, different things that made it feasible and tips and tricks on how you guys can level up your marketing, your techniques to actually get the best results inside your application, right? So, if you guys would like to go in that app as well and just check it out, you guys can type in a URL, power conditioning Lions Den, or go to their Instagram. You guys can see the workflow. This is really awesome. I think AI agents help with crazy amount of tasks and just automated processes for you to where you don't have to literally hire everybody for every different step of the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's get it, baby.